The courtroom was a suffocating cage of whispers and sneers, each one slicing into Elena Martinez like a shard of glass. At 34, she stood alone, clutching her daughter Sophia's tiny hand, as the judge read her late father's will. To my daughter Elena, I leave $1. Laughter erupted from her relatives, their mocking jeers echoing off the walls, branding her the outcast she'd always been. Elena's heart pounded, not from the sting of their ridicule but from the weight of her truth. She was a single mother, a lesbian, and the black sheep of a family that had never accepted her love for women. The dollar bill, crumpled in her pocket, felt heavier than the world on her shoulders. She squeezed Sophia's hand, her 6-year-old daughter's wide brown eyes looking up with unwavering trust. "Let's go, Mija," Elena whispered, leading her out of the courthouse into the crisp autumn air of upstate New York. Outside, the world seemed to pause. The leaves blazed red and gold, a stark contrast to the grayness of her family's rejection. Elena had no idea that tomorrow, a stranger's knock would unravel a secret that would change her life forever. The next morning, Elena woke to the sound of Sophia giggling over a bowl of cereal in their cramped apartment. The one-bedroom rental in Syracuse was all she could afford on her nurse's salary, but it was home, filled with Sophia's drawings and the faint scent of lavender candles Elena lit to keep her spirits up. She was pouring coffee when a sharp knock startled her. A man in a tailored suit stood at the door, his briefcase gleaming under the morning sun. "Ms. Elena Martinez? I'm Thomas Reed, attorney. May I come in?" His voice was calm but carried an urgency that made Elena's stomach twist. She nodded, ushering him inside, her mind racing. Was this about the will? A debt she didn't know about? "Ms. Martinez," Reed began, settling at her tiny kitchen table. "Your father's will was only part of his legacy. There's another Matera property left to you, one he kept hidden from the family." Elena blinked, her coffee mug frozen halfway to her lips. "A property?" she echoed, her voice barely above a whisper. Reed slid a photograph across the table. A sprawling lakeside estate, its Victorian architecture framed by towering pines. "This is Willow Lake Manor," he said. "Your father left it to you along with a letter. He wanted you to have it after his passing." Elena's hands trembled as she opened the envelope. Her father's handwriting, sharp and deliberate, stared back at her. "Elena, this is your sanctuary. Live your truth. I'm sorry I couldn't in life." Tears blurred her vision. Her father, a man of few words and fewer affections, had known about her struggles, her identity, her isolation, and left her this? "Ms. Martinez," Reed continued, "I'll drive you there today. It's a few hours from here near Lake Ontario." Elena nodded, dazed, her mind a whirlwind of questions. Why had her father hidden this? What did it mean? The drive to Willow Lake Manor was a blur of autumn landscapes and Sophia's excited chatter from the back seat. Elena's thoughts were elsewhere, tangled in memories of her father's silence when she came out at 18, the years of distance, and the pain of his disapproval. Yet here was proof he'd cared in his own way. The dollar was a decoy, a shield to keep the family from contesting this gift. When they arrived, the manor loomed like a dream. Its wraparound porch overlooked a glittering lake, and the air smelled of pine and possibility. Sophia ran toward the water, her laughter echoing, while Elena stood frozen, overwhelmed. Reed handed her the keys. "It's yours," he said simply before driving away. Inside, the manor was a time capsule, ornate furniture, dusty bookshelves, and a grand staircase that spiraled upward. A portrait above the fireplace caught her eye. A young woman with auburn hair and piercing green eyes, her smile both bold and tender. The plaque read, "Clara Thompson, 1985. Elena's breath caught. There was something magnetic about her, a pull she couldn't explain. That evening, as Sophia slept in one of the manor's many bedrooms, Elena explored further. In a study, she found a journal labeled Clara. The first entry read, "I met Eduardo Martinez today. He's kind but trapped like me. This manor is our refuge, a place to be free." Elena's heart raced. Her father had known this woman, shared this secret place with her. But who was Clara? The next day, Elena drove Sophia to school in their beat-up sedan, the manor's keys jangling in her pocket. She couldn't shake the image of Clara's portrait or the journal's words. At the hospital, her shift as a nurse was grueling, long hours, endless patience, but her mind kept drifting to the manor. Who was Clara to her father? Why had he left this place to her? After her shift, Elena stopped at a local cafe to clear her head. That's when she saw a Hera woman with auburn hair and green eyes, just like the portrait, sitting alone with a book. Elena's pulse quickened. It couldn't be. The woman looked up, her gaze locking with Elena's, and smiled. "You look like you've seen a ghost," she said, her voice warm and teasing. "To think I have," Elena stammered, clutching the journal she'd brought with her. "Are you Clara Thompson?" The woman's smile faltered, then softened. "I am. And you must be Elena Martinez." Elena's world tilted. How did she know her name? Clara gestured to the seat across from her. "Sit. I think we have a lot to talk about." Over coffee, Clara revealed she was 36, a historian who'd once known Elena's father. "Eduardo and I were friends," she said, her eyes distant. "We both had secrets. Mine was my love for women. His was his guilt over you. He bought Willow Lake Manor as a haven, a place where we could be ourselves away from judgment." Elena's throat tightened. "He left it to me," she said, showing Clara the letter. Clara's eyes shimmered with tears as she read it. "He always regretted not standing up for you," she said softly. "This was his way of making amends." As days turned into weeks, Elena and Sophia began spending weekends at the manor, transforming it into a home. Clara visited often, helping Elena uncover the manor's history and her father's hidden life. Their conversations stretched late into the night, filled with laughter, shared pain, and a growing connection that made Elena's heart ache with possibility. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Clara's hand brushed against Elena's. The touch was electric, a spark that ignited something Elena hadn't felt in years. "Clara," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I don't know what this is, but I feel it." Clara's green eyes met hers, steady and warm. "I feel it too," she said, leaning closer. Their first kiss was tentative, then fierce, a collision of longing and hope under the fading light. Sophia's laughter from the yard broke the moment, and they pulled apart, smiling. For the first time, Elena felt whole, not just a single mom, not just the outcast, but a woman allowed to love. Yet, the shadow of her family loomed. Word of the manor had spread, and her relatives were circling, demanding their share. Elena knew the fight was far from over, but with Clara by her side and Sophia's love anchoring her, she was ready to face anything. The autumn wind carried a chill as Elena stood on the manor's porch, staring at the letter in her hand. It was from her cousin Miguel, laced with venom. "You think you can keep that estate? It's ours by right. Expect us." Her family's greed was relentless, their mockery from the courtroom now a full-blown campaign to claim Willow Lake Manor. Elena's chest tightened, but Clara's voice cut through her fear. "They can't take this from you," she said, standing beside her, her green eyes fierce. "This is your father's gift, your sanctuary." Elena nodded, but doubt gnawed at her. She was a nurse, not a fighter, and the legal battle ahead felt like a mountain she couldn't climb. Sophia ran up, her pigtails bouncing, oblivious to the storm brewing. "Mama, can we plant flowers here?" she asked, pointing to the manor's overgrown garden. Elena forced a smile. "We will, Mija. This is our home now." Clara became a constant in their lives, her presence a balm to Elena's fraying nerves. They spent evenings restoring the manor, sanding floors and painting walls, their laughter filling the once silent rooms. Clara shared stories of her own struggles coming out in a small town, losing friends, finding solace in history and books. "I hid who I was for so long," she told Elena one night, her voice soft as they sat by the fireplace. "But with you I don't have to." Elena's heart fluttered, but fear lingered. She hadn't loved like this since her college girlfriend, a relationship her family had shamed her for. Clara was different, bold, kind, unafraid, but Elena worried. What if her family's hatred tainted this too? What if Sophia got caught in the crossfire? The answer came sooner than she expected. One morning, as Elena dropped Sophia at school, she spotted her sister, Rosa, waiting by the gate. Rosa's face was a mask of disdain. "You're making a fool of yourself," she spat. "Parading around with that woman, stealing what belongs to the family. Give up the manor, or we'll drag you through court." Elena's hands shook, but she stood tall. "It's mine, Rosa. Dad wanted me to have it. Rosa's laugh was cold. You're nothing but a disgrace. Always have been. The words stung, but Elena thought of Clara, of Sophia, of the manor's promise. She walked away, her resolve hardening. Clara suggested they hire a lawyer, and Elena agreed, though her savings were thin. They met with Sarah Klein, a sharp-witted attorney with a reputation for taking on tough cases. Sarah reviewed the will and the manor's deed, her brow furrowing. Your father was clever, she said. The dollar was a distraction. The manor's transfer is airtight, but your family could tie this up in court for years. We need to prove your father's intent. Elena handed over the journal and letter, her father's words a lifeline. Sarah's eyes lit up. This is gold. Clara, you knew Eduardo. Can you testify about his intentions? Clara nodded, her jaw set. He wanted Elena to have a place where she could be free. I'll do whatever it takes. That night, Elena and Clara sat on the manor's dock, their feet dangling over the water. Sophia slept inside, her dreams filled with the manor's magic. I'm scared, Elena admitted, her voice barely audible. Not just of losing the manor, but of, what if I'm not enough? Clara took her hand, her touch steady. You're more than enough, Elena. You're everything. Their lips met again, this time with a quiet intensity, the lake reflecting the stars above. Elena felt the weight of her fears lift, replaced by a fierce determination to fight for the manor, for Sophia, for this love she hadn't dared dream of. The first court hearing was a battlefield. Elena's family filled the room, their lawyer painting her as an ungrateful daughter who'd manipulated her father. Elena sat rigid, Sarah's hand on her shoulder the only anchor. Clara testified, her voice steady as she recounted her friendship with Eduardo, his regrets, his desire to protect Elena. The judge listened, her face unreadable, but Elena felt a flicker of hope. Afterward, Clara drove them back to the manor, Sophia singing in the back seat. You were amazing, Elena said, squeezing Clara's hand. Clara grinned. We're just getting started. But the victory was short-lived. That night, Elena found a brick thrown through the manor's window, a note tied to it. Give it up or else. Fear gripped her, but Clara was unshaken. They're desperate, she said, pulling Elena close. We'll protect this place together. Elena nodded, her heart racing not just from fear but from the strength she drew from Clara's presence. For the first time she believed she could win not just the manor, but a life where she could love freely. The shattered glass glittered on the manor's floor, a stark reminder of the fight Elena faced. She swept it up as Sophia slept, her hands trembling not from fear but from fury. Clara stayed by her side, her calm resolve a contrast to Elena's storm. We need to secure this place, Clara said, already on the phone with the security company. By morning, cameras and alarms were installed, but Elena couldn't shake the feeling that her family's hatred was closing in. Sophia sensed the tension, her small voice breaking the silence at breakfast. Mama, why are people mad at us? Elena's heart ached. She knelt beside her daughter, brushing a curl from her face. Some people don't understand our family, Mija, but we're stronger than their anger. Sophia nodded, hugging her tightly, and Elena vowed to shield her from the ugliness. Clara's historian instincts kicked in, and she dove into the manor's past, searching for clues to strengthen their case. In the attic they found a locked chest, its key hidden in the journal's binding. Inside were letters between Eduardo and Clara from decades ago, detailing their dreams for the menorah safe haven for those rejected by the world. He wanted this place to be a legacy of love, Clara said, her voice thick with emotion. Elena read the letters, tears streaming down her face. Her father had understood her, even if he'd never said it. Sarah used the letters in court, arguing that Eduardo's intent was clear. The manor was Elena's, a gift to honor her truth. The judge seemed swayed, but Elena's family countered with a new claim. They accused her of forging the documents. The allegation hit like a punch, threatening to unravel everything. Elena felt the walls closing in, but Clara's hand in hers grounded her. We'll prove them wrong, Clara whispered, her eyes blazing. Outside the courtroom, life at the manor became a refuge. Elena and Clara planted the garden Sophia had dreamed of, their hands dirty with soil, their laughter mingling with the lake's gentle lapping. One afternoon, as they watched Sophia chase fireflies, Clara turned to Elena. I want this with you, she said, her voice raw. Not just the manor but a life. You and Sophia. Elena's breath caught, her heart torn between hope and fear. I want that too, she admitted. But I'm scared I'll fail you. Clara cupped her face, her touch gentle but firm. You could never fail me. You're the bravest person I know. Their kiss was a promise, sealing a future Elena was only beginning to believe in. But the moment was fleeting. Her phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. They're escalating. Prepare for a fight. The next hearing was brutal. Elena's family produced a witness, an old friend of Eduardo's, who claimed he'd never intended to give Elena the manor. The lie stung, but Sarah dismantled the testimony, pointing out inconsistencies. Still, the judge delayed her ruling, leaving Elena in limbo. That night she couldn't sleep, her mind racing with what-ifs. Clara found her on the porch, staring at the lake. We're not giving up, Clara said, wrapping her in a blanket. This is our home now. Elena leaned into her, drawing strength from her warmth. I don't deserve you, she murmured. Clara laughed softly. You deserve everything, Elena. And I'm not going anywhere. As they sat together, the stars above seemed to whisper that maybe, just maybe, they could win this fight, not just for the manor, but for the life they were building. The courtroom felt like a pressure cooker, the air thick with tension as Elena awaited the judge's final ruling. Her family sat across the aisle, their glares heavy with entitlement. Clara's hand rested on her knee, a silent reminder that she wasn't alone. Sarah had fought fiercely, presenting the letters, Clara's testimony, and even a video of Eduardo found in the manor's attic, where he spoke of his regret and his wish for Elena to have the manor. But doubt lingered. Would it be enough? Sophia, too young for the courtroom, was with a neighbor, but her absence weighed on Elena. This fight wasn't just for her. It was for the home Sophia deserved, a place where she could grow up free from the shame Elena had known. As the judge entered, Elena's heart pounded, her future hanging in the balance. The ruling came like a thunderclap. The manor was Elena's, free and clear. The judge cited Eduardo's letters and video as undeniable proof of his intent, dismissing her family's claims. Cheers erupted from Clara and Sarah, but Elena's relatives stormed out, their threats echoing in the hall. Elena felt a mix of relief and dread. Winning the manor was only half the battle. Her family's hatred wouldn't vanish. Back at the manor, Clara and Sophia threw an impromptu celebration, stringing fairy lights across the porch. Sophia danced under them, her laughter a melody that eased Elena's fears. Clara pulled her close, whispering, "This is our beginning." Elena smiled, but the brick through the window lingered in her mind. She knew her family wasn't done. Life settled into a fragile rhythm. Elena took a leave from the hospital to focus on the manor, turning it into a community space as her father had dreamed. Clara helped organize events, book clubs, art classes, support groups for queer youth, making the manor a beacon of acceptance. Their love deepened, each moment a step toward the life they wanted. But the threats didn't stop. Anonymous letters arrived, warning Elena to sell or face consequences. One night, a fire broke out in the garden, small but deliberate. Elena extinguished it, her hands shaking, but the message was clear. Clara called the police, who promised to investigate, but evidence was thin. "We can't let them win," Clara said, her voice fierce. Elena nodded, but fear for Sophia gnawed at her. She couldn't lose her daughter to this vendetta. That night she made a decision. "We need to fight back," she told Clara. "Not just in court, but by showing them we're not afraid." They doubled down, hosting a community festival at the manor to raise funds for its upkeep. Neighbors, friends, and strangers came, drawn by the manor's warmth and Elena's story. Clara spoke to the crowd, her voice ringing with pride. "This place is proof that love wins," she said, her eyes on Elena. The festival was a success, but as the last guests left, Elena found a note slipped under the door. "You'll regret this." She showed it to Clara, her resolve hardening. "They want to scare us," she said. "But this is our home, our life. We're staying." Clara kissed her, fierce and unwavering. "Together," she said. As they stood on the porch, Sophia asleep inside, Elena felt a fire ignite within her. She was done running. This was her stand. The manor glowed under the morning sun, its walls a testament to Elena's fight. She and Clara had turned it into a sanctuary, not just for themselves but for anyone seeking refuge. Yet the threats hadn't stopped. The latest was a call to Elena's phone, a distorted voice warning, "Sell or Sophia pays." Her blood ran cold. She could face anything for herself, but her daughter? That was her line. Clara found her pacing the study, the phone still in her hand. "We're calling the police again," Clara said, her voice steady but her eyes blazing. Elena nodded, but her mind raced. She couldn't wait for the law to catch up. She needed to protect her family now. With Sarah's help, they hired a private investigator, who traced the threats to Miguel, Elena's cousin. The evidence was damning: texts, call logs, even a receipt for the brick. Armed with this, Elena confronted him at his Syracuse office, Clara by her side. "This ends now," she said, her voice unwavering. "You're done terrorizing us." Miguel's smirk faltered as she laid out the evidence. "You'll go to jail for this," she added, "unless you stop." Faced with exposure, Miguel backed down, his threats reduced to bluster. The police took over and a restraining order was issued. For the first time in months, Elena breathed easier, but the scars remained. She knew her family's acceptance might never come, but she had something stronger: her chosen family. The manor thrived as spring arrived, its garden blooming with Sophia's flowers. Elena and Clara planned a commitment ceremony, a celebration of their love and resilience. The community gathered, filling the lawn with laughter and music. Sophia, in a tiny suit, carried a basket of petals, her smile brighter than the sun. As Elena and Clara exchanged vows, their hands intertwined, Elena felt her father's presence in the breeze, his apology complete. "I choose you," Elena said, her voice steady. "For every fight, every joy, every day." Clara's eyes shimmered. "And I choose you forever." Their kiss sealed a promise, not just to each other but to a world that needed their light. Years later, the manor stood as a beacon of hope, its doors open to those who needed it. Elena and Clara raised Sophia there, their love a foundation stronger than any threat. The dollar bill, once a symbol of rejection, hung framed in the study, a reminder of how far they'd come. Elena's family faded into silence, their hatred no match for her truth. As she watched Sophia play by the lake, Clara's hand in hers, Elena knew this was her father's true legacy: not just the manor, but the courage to live authentically. She'd turned pain into purpose, shame into strength, and a single dollar into a life of love. The manor wasn't just a house. It was a home, a sanctuary, a testament to the power of choosing love over fear. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.